Frank Lloyd Wright was a famous self-educated architect in the area of Chicago. At his last quarter of life, his relationship with Olgivanna Ivanova Milenov, a dancer, philosopher, and music composer, gave him a creative boost to elaborate his most radical projects, such as the Falling Water House, the Broadacre City, the Guggenheim Museum, and the Taliesin School of Architecture. 1924, Chicago. Wright attends the 8th Street Theater in Chicago to watch a Russian ballet with artist friend Gary Bloom. A seat is vacant in their box and Bloom invites his newly acquainted friend Olgivanna. When she entered, it was love at first sight.
Good evening, madame. My name is Frank. Nice to meet you, sir. I'm Olgivanna. Do you know about today's performance? Yeah, it will be really wonderful. My friend Sabina is performing today, and I'm also a dancer. And where are you from? I am from Montenegro, but I have lived around Europe in many places, and I have just arrived to Chicago for the first time. Oh, you will love it. It has many interesting places to visit, and I can show you some of them if you want. Oh, thank you, Fran. That's very kind of you. I'm really looking forward to explore the city. It's my pleasure. And what about you, Frank? What do you do? I'm an architect. I was living in Europe for 10 years and I was deeply impressed by the variety of buildings and architectures that you can discover there. And I also had the chance to publish a portfolio of my work in Berlin. Oh, you must have learned a lot there. What do you want to show the world with your architecture? I try to show the world that architecture is not only has to be functional, but can also have an artistic purpose. I also believe that architecture can be inspired by other artistic disciplines such as music or literature, painting, dancing, and maybe philosophy. From my point of view, these artistic activities are fundamental to the structural design of your mind and your body and the character. You can make a more human architect out of them. Yeah, I agree. I would like to continue this conversation. Would you like to have a cup of tea with me? I know a really good cafe near here. I would love to. Thank you so much, Frank. You are so kind.
They both fell in love with each other fast. Since both of them were involved in unhappy marriages, they could not immediately become husband and wife. In 1925, Frank, Olgivanna, and her daughter Svetlana moved in together at Taliesin in Spring Green, Wisconsin. And soon Olgivanna became pregnant with their daughter Giovanna. Their divorces were quite controversial. In October 1926, Olga's ex-husband, Vladimir Hindenburg, sought custody of his daughter, Svetlana, and Wright and Olgivanna were accused of violating the Mann Act and arrested in Tonka Bay, Minnesota. The charges were later dropped. While Frank was seeking his divorce from Miriam Noel, she threw every accusation at him she could think of, while also accusing Olgivanna of being an undesirable alien. Miriam tried to take possession of Taliesin, pursued them from the Midwest to California, had them arrested, harassed him with phone calls and letters, and broke into La Jolla, Frank's home in San Diego, and smashed it up with an axe. She finally submitted to the divorce when Wright paid her off. After 4 long years, Frank and Olgivanna got married in 1928 at Rancho Santa Fe. 1931, Taliesin, Wisconsin. Frank and Olgivanna are sitting in a room reading a book. Frank looks pensive.
What are you thinking about, Frank? It's just an idea that has been going around my head for a while. Okay, tell me, what is it about? Do you remember the hillside home building that we passed by the other day? It used to be a school. My aunts founded it in 1887 and they were dedicated to the education of children. Their philosophy of learning by doing made a profound impact on me. So I was thinking of rehabilitating it and establish an industry style center. It will serve as a school allied with and supported by industry. It's a really good idea, Frank. I really love the concept of learning by doing, and I would love to help you and be part of this project. I think it also will be good to supplement the training of in architecture of this apprentice with other disciplines such as painting or sculpture or dancing in music. What do you think? Yeah, that would be great. At its core, we'll stand the fine arts as inspiration, but of course, architecture will be the leader. And aligned to this inspirational core will be the seven branches of the industrial arts. The School of Allied Arts. I really like it. The idea I have in mind is to create a community where everyone participates in the construction process with me. The primary tasks of the first year will be to get the building ready for using it as accommodation and work spaces. Good. I think it's also important that the apprentices turn out to be better people with a deeper mind and a more lively imagination by way of their association with us. Yeah, you're right. We must seek out the best known practitioners in their fields, like writers, painters, poets, landscape artists, musicians, composers. Let's make a list.
The vision of the fellowship proved too grand. However, a less ambitious program was formally proposed in 1932. That summer, the brides sent out a letter stating an extension of the work in architecture at Taliesin to include apprentice in residence. This more modest proposal found an enthusiastic response among a young audience. Nearly 30 people joined the school that year. "23 apprentices formed the Taliesin Fellowship in 1932, and other pioneers joined them in the early 30s. At first, Frank Lloyd Wright had a few commissions through which to teach the apprentice, and he put them to work in the construction, operations, and maintenance of the school. Olgivanna was in charge of the administrative aspects, as well as the multidisciplinary curricula. Every week, a work list was drawn up assigning each fellowship member specific tasks. Everyone rotated through kitchen detail, construction work, or drafting work in the studio. The brides believed that no work was too mundane or trivial to be taken seriously, and that every task should be done well, whether preparing dinner, arranging flowers, or emptying the garbage. This equal distribution of work created a very close-knit community, in spite of any difference in age or social or financial status. Hard work was rewarded with parties and formal evenings, featuring music and drama and films each week. The brides also regularly gathered everyone together for a presentation or discussion on a wide range of subjects. And the fellowship members were encouraged to develop their talents as musicians, potters, sculptors, dancers, and cooks, as well as architects. During this time, Frank designed some of his most breathtaking designs, from Falling Water to the Guggenheim Museum. Olgivanna wrote 5 books on the life they shared and composed over 40 musicals. Frank's death on April 9, 1959, left Olgivanna with complete responsibility for the business operation of the Taliesin Fellowship. Mrs. Bride wrote many books and organized exhibitions across the globe about her husband and his concept of organic architecture. She kept her husband's name alive despite the continuous criticism and comments she received. She won't be able to run the fellowship without Frank. She is a tyrant and a charlatan. She won't last more than 6 months. She's at the top, but it's her own close inner circle who make all the real decisions.
Frank, I promise I will keep your name alive.
After many years of keeping her husband's name alive, Olgivanna Lloyd Wright died on March 1st, 1985. After her death, she received numerous criticism because of the controversy generated by her dying wishes of lying beside Wright. She had planned the removal of Wright's body from its Wisconsin grave, which was then cremated, mixed with her ashes, and used in the walls of a memorial garden to be built on the grounds of their home at Taliesin, West, Arizona. The Wisconsin legislature prohibited this remove, but Giovanna, Wright's daughter with Olgivanna, stood firm nonetheless, and the plan was carried out successfully. David Wright, his son from his first marriage, said, "The shrine will be nothing without him. It's using the name of Frank Lloyd Wright for the gain of a very selfish person who will be nothing without him. It's a shame to make a show, a kindergarten act." Nevertheless, his grandson Edith Wright said, "She felt much more at home in Arizona, and she felt that people there were much more receptive to my grandfather's genius and to her than in Wisconsin." They just wanted to rest together, because it was not a partner to a genius, but two geniuses in love.